Oh boy, this is gonna be a tough episode of The Soinks. Welcome, amigas, amigos, y non-binarios, tanchi bonsoir, and welcome to The Serfs. I'm your friendly neighborhood Lance, here to talk to you about, well, I have a little bit of a confession to make, and I'm going to make that confession, but you'll have to wait for me to, I guess, get past around 12 seconds. 12 seconds, yeah, 12 seconds is about the amount of time, I think, before I won't get demonetized by the words that are about to come out of my mouth. So, just being sure, and I fuck up. I fucked up. I fuck up, I fucked up, I fuck up, and I will fuck up again. And I am from a proud line of people who fuck up, because everyone fucks up. We all do. Every single person fucks up. I have fucked up before I became a public figure, and I have fucked up as a public figure. And I have learnt from my fuck-ups as best I can, and I've been trying to grow. Because guess what? I know we've been told that we're all consumed by the woke mind virus, and that it's permeating every aspect of our culture, and soon it will dominate all things, and that's when the left effectively wins. And yes, we will win. It's all been part of the plan. It's going along beautifully. We've already taken over beer corporations. Soon we'll have every single company. Have you seen how many rainbows there are? The amount of corporations that are rainbowed, they all come out as gay. After a while, they straighten up. They straighten up, and but they're gay as hell for 1 month of the year, and that's a glorious time when there's more gay than ever before. And yes, there is a problem right now going on, a very serious one, a unfortunate culture war, of which we are all players in. And by all, I mean us collectively as humans. I play a role, and when I have the ability and a megaphone, as I'm privileged enough to have, what I say and do can have an impact upon these culture wars. So that's the reason why sometimes this stuff is very silly, sometimes it seems very foolish, but the reality of how trans people are being targeted and persecuted and currently being made the centerpiece of all of this right now, that's something that we have to fight against. And by we, I mean us cis folk. We should be at the front lines of this. Yes, me, I have to confess, I am a sissy. I'm cis, I'm a cis man, I like being a man, and I am a man. I'm a proud man. I'm a man who's very happy to be able to be called a man. Yes, I am not a semen machine. I'm not the jizzinator, okay? I am not a walking prostate. I am more than these things. I am a man. If there is an inclusive term that comes along, that is used in language in order to help groups, people who may be affected by something, because it's very, very true right now that in America, it is a frightening and scary time, especially if you're a woman. If you are a woman, which is basically half of the population of the United States, right now, there's a very large push by a small amount of Christian conservatives who have a lot of wealthy backing, who have put Supreme Court justices all the way to the highest levels of the United States, and a lot of Supreme Court justices in a whole bunch of states themselves, who are trying to limit the bodily autonomy of women. They are trying to force women to have to give birth against their will. Medieval shit, cruel shit, fucked up patriarchal bullshit. If we want to destroy and smash and fucking wreck the patriarchy for all time, we need to fight this. This is horrifying. Comma. This also affects trans men and people who can give birth, aka non-binary people. There are people who are assigned female at birth who also present femininely, who are non-binary. They are not women. They do not want to be referred to as women. But if you saw them on the street, most likely the first thing you would say or think in your head is, that's a woman. But you would be nice, and I guess polite of you, to ask what their preferred pronouns were before you assumed them, right? That being said, that person could be non-binary, and that person could be able to get pregnant. That person could also be femininely presenting, but that person is not a cis woman. And to include them in the conversation is crucial. There's no half measures on us fighting for civil rights. We need to be able to include people who are also going to be affected by these forms of legislation. Trans men can also be affected by these forms of legislation. That's what makes this very, very frightening, and why there can't be like a limit to what exactly we're going to provide, not only as content creators and entertainers and advocates for certain things, but as activists. And that brings us to the drama, because a lot of people keep asking, why are you talking about this? Why is everyone making such a big deal out of this? Why are people making videos about this? Isn't there more important things? Isn't there more important things going on right now? And the answer is absolutely. How many videos have I made on the war crimes of Israel recently? Can you tell me? Could you point that out? What about the war crimes of the United States, the imperialism of the US? Yes, these are very concerning, pressing issues that affect lots of people. Lance, why don't you talk about this? And to you, I say, poo-poo. Poo-poo simply because there's a lot of things, and there's a lot of topics, and there's a lot of advocacy that needs to be done. Just because your given cause at a certain time is not being talked or reflected upon by your content creator du jour, doesn't mean they don't care about it. I do. I deeply care about it. And to be honest, when it comes down to it, I don't really trust people anymore these days in the content creator space who don't want to advocate for people doing tangible real world action. Get out there, get involved in local politics, get involved in your local elections. Your local elections, it's going to baffle your mind, but at the end of the day, what you do in local elections can genuinely affect your everyday life way more than the sexy ones. Volunteer for a whole bunch of different organizations, Food Not Bombs, do direct action, start a feeding program, do community stocking fridges with the Democratic Socialists if you have time to do so. Get out there, do that shit, help make the world a better place. But if you turn on the YouTube and you watch one of us being entertainers, again, we have to be transparent about who we are and what we do. Hopefully, and this is better entertainment, it's more nourishing than other forms, you know, like man who gets kicked in balls 1,000 times.
Ah, my groin!
I would assume you're probably hopefully getting a slight, if not more, amount of educational experiences from watching me or enjoying my show and stuff like that. But deep down, yes, we're entertainers, and this is a form of entertainment. And in that form of entertainment, it's important, crucial, that if we are advocating for marginalized communities, that we listen to those marginalized communities to set the terms of their liberation on their own means. AKA, if someone from the trans community, and this is why I started by saying I fuck up, comes to me and it's someone whom I deeply respect and says, Lance, this is not it. This is an inter-community joke that you shouldn't be making. I'm sorry as a cis person, it's not cool. I will delete the tweet. I will delete the video. I will make an apology. And you know, it sucks. There's an incredible video by Innuendo Studios that I'm probably going to show you a clip of right now.
Maybe it's been you when someone declines a bite of your sandwich like this, or declines an invite to your Christmas party like this, or when you offer someone a beer at a party after having maybe a couple of your own and they decline like this, and you get kind of cold and quiet and your eyes narrow and you wonder, are they judging me? Why do these statements piss so many people off? Why do they read like judgments? Because they're not necessarily. They're often stated for practical reasons to explain a behavior.
Where it comes down to, a lot of people feel if they are receiving criticism, even if it's in good faith, because they receive a lot of bad faith criticism, which I do, every content creator does, that's, yes, it comes with the territory, but because we receive so much bad faith criticism from people who genuinely hate us because they have a weird parasocial sexual relationship with us or something, I don't know, I get weird emails, okay? I'm just saying, that's different than when it's my peers, and it's very different than when it's one of my peers in a marginalized group whom I love and trust. So when I get a DM from a trans creator, a trans friend, and they're like, Lance, this ain't it, I listen. This is not me trying to virtue signal, even though I know it's virtually impossible for me to make any of these statements, talk about these topics without it being virtue signaling-ish feely to a certain percentage of the people who watch me or who hate me. Fair enough, there's nothing I can do about that, so I'm just going to keep on going. This is not me trying to say that I'm the one true leftist. This is not me trying to say I'm better than you. This is not me trying to say I don't fuck up, because I do, and I have. And I probably will continue to do so. To err is human. It's what we do. And it's my principled stance to leave the room open for people who want to change, because we all need to. Constantly. We have grown up in a society in which we have been programmed to so many conditioned things. Heteronormity, racism, stereotypes back and forth, swirl through our brains and our little goo cavities up here, and we'll constantly be forced to de-learn and deprogram aspects of that. We're always like, there's no such thing as being woke. No one is woke. I'm going to reveal everyone the biggest secret of wokeness from the left right now. No one is woke. No one will be woke until we are all free. That's the whole idea. We're learning, we're evolving. You are paying attention. You don't have your fucking head in the sand to the struggles of other people. This brings us to the tweet. So obviously there's currently a bit of a leftist infighting, shall we say, and it's one in which I honestly genuinely consider to be still on very friendly terms. In fact, this whole thing is so strange that it makes me wonder if there is a German word for a strange combination of something being simultaneously hilarious and deeply, profoundly sad. Because that's what a lot of this feels like. I will be laughing my ass off at 1 second because I'm listening to Sam Cedar having to talk about how he is not.
Semen providers, in any way, and look, I will say, saying semen providers, I don't think disregards my manhood in some way.
But this isn't the problem. I have to be very clear on this. No one on the left is asking for, demanding, and I have not heard from a single trans activist or ally to any member of the LGBTQ+ community that you have to henceforth refer to women only as birthing people. There's no such thing as the experience of a woman. And let's be honest, and I have to check my privileges at the door here, I'm not trying to mansplain this issue at all. This is obviously a little bit different if it involves a woman, because women are constantly being oppressed by men. And one of those aspects, yes, if men, especially men who are in a progressive circle or something like that, are suddenly saying,
by the way, I would rather you call yourself a birthing person.
Unfortunately, men who are doing that, you are wrong. Do not call women birthing persons, or just refer to them only as menstruations who move or something like that. Just as we should not refer to cis men as jizzonators, cum machines, the walking prostate, the walking cum. I am more than a walking prostate. All of us are, and I deeply, deeply believe this into my core. And that's the funny part. The sad part is this only serves the far right and people who want to oppress LGBTQ+ people. I know this because the far right and people who want to suppress LGBTQ+ people are overjoyed, are all in agreement, are suddenly being like broken clock. Normally hate Anna Kasparian and TYT and Jank, but look at this. You're right. Not including non-binary people, not including trans men, in a conversation that directly pertains to their rights being taken away is wrong. It is not leftist. It is not us fighting for the liberation of all people. This only serves people who want to oppress LGBTQ+ folk and who also want to push a narrative that the left and trans people have gone insane.
It's those trans people, I tell you. Those trans people have really gotten out of hand. You had me the entire time. I was totally on board. I was for trans rights. They're human rights. I said the thing. I was almost gonna buy a T-shirt that one time, and then unfortunately I just didn't go through and didn't hit send. But you know what? I was for that. I was for saying that I will, maybe consider going to a march or something. I'm on board. But what about them kids? What about the kids? It's just kind of feel, I've been told that there's mutilations. I don't know. All I'm saying is that can we have discussions about this? Can we debate this? Can we just clearly say that
I fuck up all the time. I have to learn new shit all the time. Yes, there is a lot in gender theory that, surprise, surprise, cis people don't know. And it's awesome. Not that they don't know it, the theory itself. Gender theory is fucking cool. When you start to learn new things about gender, sexuality, chromosomes, gametes, how there are intersex people, that there are almost as many intersex, if not more intersex people than there are people with red hair. Yes, redheads, there could be more intersex, and the very idea that one simple thing, such as having an XX or an X or Y chromosome, is what can determine what you become as either a man or woman, is not true, and science proves that now, and it's more fascinating than we ever knew. There are so many different variations to the human experience. They are all valid and beautiful and incredible, and I didn't know. I didn't know. It's like so many other things in my life that I did not know at a certain point, and as I've learned things, I have had my mind blown, and it's just so infinitely cooler than I originally thought. I've had that same experience with cosmology, that same experience with fucking quantum foam string theory. I'm not even gonna pretend for a second that I understand, okay, quantum mechanics or anything like that. I don't, but it's so cool. Even just trying to understand it is cool. Even just trying to understand the beauty of the universe, that everything around us is so infinitely more complex than I previously thought. It is absolutely, and I say this from the bottom of my heart, fucking cool. It is. Trans men don't take anything away from my experience as a man. They make my experience as a cis man so much cooler. So much cooler. My dids, you genuinely do. It makes everything so much more interesting, so much more complex. It doesn't break my brain to think that there can be a man with a vagina, a man with a vagina that can feel pleasure. No, that doesn't break my brain anymore. It's just like, this is so much cooler. We are more than just genitals. We based on, like, you know, the development, there's parts in the development of a human fetus as it goes from one stage to another where the very same, like, thing, I forget the name of it off the top of my head, and maybe in editing it'll pop up on the screen. I'm fully embarrassed, but the very same thing will turn into two separate pieces of what we normally associate with either a man or a woman. One of those pieces being testicles, gonads. In the creation of those gonads, more testosterone is going to be released, and that person is going to become more like what we normally associate with being a male. I didn't know this. And if I had said anything about this topic a decade ago, I would be wrong. I would say that there are just two sexes, that there are just two genders. I would not have a fucking 5 percentile understanding of these topics that I now do. And so on that note, I get that there are certain people who aren't there yet. And a lot of normies they're having their moment, you know? For people and I'm really prominently in online LGBTQ plus spaces, Dylan Mulvaney wasn't a superstar in the way that normies have really attached themselves to Dylan Mulvaney. And now the right have propelled Dylan Mulvaney into the stratosphere. The hatred and obsession with her that every single right winger is doing.
Bruh. Oh shit! Gee, what the fuck? Oh, that's why he's destroying. He's destroying the bush light, dude. What?
The more people interact with trans people, the more they see that they're people. The same applies to any other group. Native women are women. Black women are women, just as Caucasian or white-skinned women are women. And trans women are women. There's many different kinds, but they're all women. They're all beautiful in their own ways, and they're all valid. That's it. Do you enjoy the Serfs, but prefer not to have to use your eyeballs? Many are saying this. Well, we've got the solution for you. It's the Serf Times in podcast form. Available on most major podcasting networks now. If you enjoy it, please consider leaving a good review and feedback because it really helps the show out, apparently, and it's free, just like the podcast.
To our gods, Xander Corvus and Peyton L. Juste, we shall spend many a generations building mighty cathedrals in your honor. To our monarch, Tom Spiker, we are but your oafish jesters, here to offer you a laugh at any opportunity. To our brave knights of the Round Table, Rachel K., Izzy Solidarity, Victoria Bell, Sebastian Demo, Mark Harmon, Benji Arney, Scary Earth Human, Tony, DM Rivera, Resident Scarecrow, Sir Nickus, Cheryl Alvarez, Ruby Kelly, Brandon, Words Greenwood, Everything Important, Hegbert Celine, Matthew Scarborough, Stellar Vision, Ariane McCarthy, Doug Cady, Daniel Sutton, Jenna Tal, Dark Puppy, Quiet One 85, Anna Loves Riley, Omni, Riley and Anna, Poodlehawk, Multimondi, Trevbot EXE, Brian Ephraim, Anthropophojak, Catherine, Ramon Acosta, Nkosin, Ralph Parler, Violent Orchard, Political Puppy, La Media Panza, Todd Buckingham, and Todd La Jeunesse. We salute our valiant heroes off to fight injustice everywhere.